wish everyone a happy Easter. This is when we're filming this, and Passover. I'm not sure when this will get shown, but I hope everyone is well and enjoying time with their family and staying safe. The idea for today is to come up with a dish that is comprised of things that you are most likely to have in your larder. I've got a lot of things in my larder, so I can make quite a few things, but I can guarantee you've probably got these. So the dish we're going to make today is an old favorite of mine that I used to enjoy with a buddy of mine in Boston, an Italian, as you can imagine, and it's called Mike Barrett's Cannellini and Tuna Dip. Okay, so as any good Italian would know, measuring things isn't necessarily something that we tend to do. So this dish is super easy because you're literally going to go by can size when it comes to major ingredients. And those ingredients are tuna. I have albacore tuna in water. If I had it in olive oil, I would use that, but I don't. And obviously I don't want to go to the supermarket unnecessarily. So we will use this and it'll be just fine. Cannellini beans, any good Italian cannellini beans will do. And the ratio you're going to use as you make this dish is for however many cannellini cans you use, you'll use 1 can of tuna. All right, so we're going to use 2 cans of cannellini beans and 2 cans of tuna. The other ingredients are very good olive oil. This isn't the case where you use any sort of cooking olive oil. You want to use something that's a little bit higher grade, that's going to have a bit more pepperiness to it. Okay. Salt, pepper, some garnishes after this is made to sprinkle on top. I've got a little bit of parsley here. I've got a little bit of chili flakes, and then Sicilian lemon juice. You should always have this in your fridge regardless of what's going on. This is obviously from Sicily. It is unmatched in adding to food when it comes to sweetness and when it comes to the lemony flavor. Obviously, fresh lemons are fine if that's what you've got, but I encourage you next time you're at the supermarket or in the future, keep a little thing of this in your cupboards at home. It's great for adding to vinaigrettes and cold items, etc., etc. So with that said, let's put all this together. So I'm sure everyone's got a simple Cuisinart food processor at home. It's the workhorse of my kitchen. You're going to put the basic blade on this, nothing fancy, all right? With the cannellini beans, you give them a quick rinse in a colander just to get rid of the liquid that they're stored on when they're in the can. You don't need to make sure they're super dry once they've been rinsed. They can still be wet from the sink. Those go in here, okay? We've got the tuna. If you're using the tuna in olive oil, you want to drain them. So open up the can, make a little hole, drain some of the excess olive oil, but do not wash it. You want a little bit of that residual olive oil to stay with the tuna. If you're using the water tuna like I am, again, simply just prick a little hole in the can, drain it, and then put it in a container ready to go into the blender. All right, so that's our 2 cans of cannellini beans and our 2 cans of tuna. All right, next you take your very good olive oil. A little tip when you're buying olive oil at the supermarket, always check the date. Older olive oil loses its pepperiness, loses its flavor, and obviously younger oil doesn't. So I like younger oil, I like that pepperiness in my olive oil. So you can adjust this as it goes on. So it's okay to, I'm gonna probably put in, I would say, 1/4 cup for the time being, all right? And obviously I can adjust this as I go forward. That's my olive oil going in. All right, we've got our Sicilian lemon juice. Again, you can adjust this as you go on, but for the time being, I'd probably put in probably like 1 ounce, I would say. You don't mind this because it's the acid that's gonna cut through this dish. That goes in there like that. Put that to one side. We've got our Himalayan sea salt. Again, you're going to get a chance to taste all of this before you serve it. This is a cold dish, nothing else really happens other than it going in this blender. So you can taste it and adjust it as you go forward. Okay, so that is our Himalayan sea salt. We've got, that's not going to work, right? Hold on. Yeah, this might do a little bit better. So I'm sure all of you have got one of these at home. You want to use a gigantic pepper mill. I find it gives a better peppery flavor. So a good few twists of pepper. That should do it. Put that back there. just pulse. What I can do now, while it's pulsing, now I've actually just turned it on, I can add a bit more oil. Just give it the consistency where I want it. A bit more oil. Okay. Don't take anything out right now because obviously you're going to want to adjust the flavors. So grab yourself a spoon and I'm looking for the different components. Is it salty enough? Is there enough olive oil in there? Lemon juice, the whole 9 yards. That's pretty spot on, but I think I need a little bit more lemon juice, which is going to loosen it up a little bit. All right, and a bit more gigantic pepper. Oh boy. Big guy needs a big pepper shaker. All right. Give this one more polish. And I'm happy with that. So that really is what you're looking for. All right. For those of you that don't like tuna, this isn't super tunery and this isn't super beany. All these ingredients mix very well together and they make an incredibly tasty dip. So give it a try. All right. So from that point, we're going to put it in the bowl over here. Take out the little. This guy nicely in here. Get all the corner bits. Okay, try not to make too much of a mess because obviously there's, it's a pretty neutral color. So using a colorful bowl is going to bring this out a little bit. All right. Last thing you want to do is kind of create like a bit of a dip in here. I might just do this. Let me create like a little divot in here. Because what you're going to do is you're going to take some of that really good olive oil and you're going to make a little well. And when people are eating this, they're going to get a little bit of that peppery olive oil come through as they're eating the dip. To add a bit of extra color, take some of that chili flake, sprinkle it around, make that look pretty like that. Okay. Take some parsley, sprinkle that around as well. Okay, so you're just kind of bringing those colors out a little bit and taking something that is more of a neutral color. And with the color of the bowl, the parsley, the pepper, you're getting something that is super pretty. So that is that dish. And then what we're gonna make next is an awesome little accompaniment that my dad used to use at his restaurant, which is called Garlicky Melba toast. Okay, Melba toast, quick and simple. You can use this obviously for this, but things like pates and terrines and stuff like that, this is a great accompaniment, okay? So first of all, take your oven, put the rack in the top or on the highest points and turn the salamander on high, all right? While that's going forward, you take regular, just great white white bread, put it in the toaster and put it down, all right? We're gonna let that toast for a couple of minutes and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so this bread should be done now. I'm gonna just check it. It's perfect. Okay, so on a chopping board, serrated knife, you're gonna take the bread, okay? It's cooked on both sides. You're gonna run this knife down the middle of the bread and it's actually not as hard as it looks. The toastiness on either side is going to keep the bread kind of running down the middle. All right. Oh, I forgot a step. I'm sorry. Before you do that, you actually take a garlic clove and you run it across the outside of the bread. You wouldn't think that it does much, but actually because the bread is toasted, it almost acts like a sort of mini grater, okay? And you can see with that one little garlic clove, it's already actually taken that much garlic off of it, okay? So you only do the one side, all right? So we're gonna do that on this side. So you do it before you slice it. I made a little mistake there, but that's okay. All right, run the garlic on the other side as well. Okay, so that's almost about a third of a garlic clove that's rubbed off onto that bread. Okay, again, take the knife, run it down the middle of the toast. Okay, and then what you do is you take a pan, a baking sheet I should say, and you just put the uncooked side up. Okay, do this in small batches, and whatever you do, don't walk away from the salamander. This will, as Liz can attest from earlier on when we were testing this can catch on fire. So you just do a few batches at a time, all right? So we're gonna take this raw side up and put it underneath the salamander and just toast that for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 minutes or something like that, but definitely something you wanna keep checking on. Don't just leave it be, because it will catch on fire. Okay, those should be ready now. I can smell the garlic on that bread permeates in the air. All right, so, and that's the color you're looking for. So you can see where you got to keep an eye on them, because as I said, they are super thin, right? These will crisp up a lot as they cool down or a little bit. It's okay if you serve them cold, slightly warm. The idea is really the crunchiness factor. So I've obviously made a couple batches of these, and you know, the bread that I used was quite thick. If you use much thinner bread, they'll actually curl a little bit. And when my dad used to do sort of dinner parties at the house, and we had like pates and stuff like that, you'd end up with a big pile of these, to sort of use in your dips and pates and all that stuff. So that's the two dishes. So you've got your Mike's cannellini and tuna dip, and then you've got my dad's garlicky thin Melba toast. So hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for your time. And again, be safe, be well, and I really look forward to seeing you soon.